Hey everyone, it's William Moore. You are watching Beyond the Ties That Bind. Thanks for joining me. I pray, I hope that everyone is having as good of a day as you could possibly have, living in the circumstances we now find ourselves within. So today, I had a pretty good day. I posted a meme that was making fun of the gaffe committed by Donald Trump last night, where he stated that, well, he was having an exchange with a doctor, and I know that he didn't say that people should drink or ingest disinfectant, but it was a funny meme, and it brought all of the Trump supporters out of the woodwork. Now, mind you, most of these people, if I post a meme concerning a Biden gaffe or something funny about Obama, Bernie, Hillary, Bill, George W. Bush, they'll like it, give it a like. But you say something about their chosen holy Messiah, and boy, do they go into defense mode. It's actually rather funny. Now, I want to ask a question. Do you think that Jacob and Evelyn Rothschild, their family is responsible for trillions upon trillions of dollars? They hold trillions of dollars in central banking assets all over the world. Do you think for 1 minute? Now, let's remember they established the Federal Reserve Bank in 1913, so 107 years ago. Do you think this plan, which was set in motion 107 years ago by these trillionaires, is going to be derailed by a real estate tycoon from New York who was bailed out by Wilbur Ross, who's a Rothschild henchman? Do you think the people who orchestrated World War I and World War II, the people who orchestrated the assassination of Warren G. Harding, JFK, the people who orchestrated the Great Depression, the Great Recession, the people who orchestrated the Oklahoma City bombing, the World Trade Center bombings, and now the coronavirus hoax, are going to just roll over to this so-called nationalist candidate and let him seize the reins of power? Or do you think that he is a puppet of these people who are holding trillions of dollars of assets all throughout the world and have been playing 4D chess and been two steps ahead of everybody? Now, it's evil, yes, but it's very ingenious. They're shrewd, they're evil, but you cannot take it away from them that they are intelligent. So, do you think that all of this, that they were going to allow Donald Trump to come into office to thwart their plans, destroy everything that they had? No. I mean, come on, let's get for real. Trump's far red flag laws, he has signed now $6.2 trillion of stimulus package legislation. Add on to that another half trillion, which he signed today. There was a $484 billion stimulus package that passed both the House and the Senate. I believe it passed the Senate unanimously, so that means Rand Paul is not his father. Um, so you have this man who is responsible for all of this spending, more spending on the table. He's still talking about a $2 to $2.5 trillion infrastructure plan. So all of this spending, all of this debt, which is going to create hyperinflation, which is a tax, any type of inflation is tax without legislation. So all of this is going to be coming down the road, this hyperinflation. And people, it's just amazing. You know, a lot of these people who support Trump, they were members of the Tea Party. They were out there with signs saying, "My child is not your ATM." You know, "I am not your debt slave." But now Trump does it, and because the guy's wearing the jersey with the R on it, even though he's a lifelong liberal Democrat, because he's wearing that shirt with the R on it, they can't bring themselves to criticize him. They can't bring themselves to admit they were wrong. So either they suffer from cognitive dissonance, or they're so much a part of the cult of personality and they've been so hypnotized by this man, which what's there to be hypnotized about? But anyway, they've been so hypnotized by this man that they cannot see the trees for the forest. So I want to talk about some numbers today. I talked about them in the last video, and it concerns the coronavirus fear porn map. Oh my goodness, we have 886,213 confirmed cases of coronavirus. However, last year we had 1 million people hospitalized due to the seasonal flu. Okay, so the number of confirmed cases of coronavirus, that is counting everyone. That's asymptomatic people, people who have the virus within inside of them. However, the immune system has conquered the virus, defeated the virus, so they're not ill. There's no chance of them getting ill from the virus because their bodies defeated the virus. So this confirmed case count of 886,213 is really nothing. Plus, the test kits they're using can only detect coronavirus. Now, there's multiple strains of coronavirus. They cannot detect COVID-19. Then if we go to the total deaths, 50,780. Yes, that's a lot of deaths. That's terrible. However, the death rate in America has not gone up, and if this was a pandemic, we would see the death rate go up. But if you go back to the same time last year and do a comparison, you'll see that the death rate has actually decreased by 15%. These are the CDC's own numbers. So 50,780, yes, that's terrible. But most of these people already had a UCOD, underlying cause of death, meaning they had a condition, pre-existing condition, which was the cause of their death, but they died having the coronavirus. So at the time of their death, since they had coronavirus, even though it wasn't the cause of their death, and I covered this in the last video, even though it wasn't the cause of their death, they are still put down, are still counted as a coronavirus death. So we don't know if coronavirus has even killed one person here in America, because we have underlying conditions such as heart disease, leukemia, cancer, diabetes, all types of illnesses that could lead to one's death. Being a statist, being a Democrat, being a Republican, these things can all lead to your death. So anyway, we have these numbers, which are fear porn numbers. They're put out there, they're flashed on the screen day in, day out, day after day after day after day, to instill fear, to create an environment of fear. It's the problem, reaction, solution. The government has the problem, they present the problem. The problem's this virus. Everyone reacts. They react in fear. So now the government comes up with the solution. We're in the temporary solution mode right now. The temporary solutions are social distancing, stay-at-home orders, shelter in place, shut down the restaurants, shut down the economy for something which hasn't even killed as many people as a severe seasonal influenza. Now, even Dr. Fauci in the New England Journal of Medicine back in February released a report which stated that coronavirus is going to be more akin to a severe seasonal influenza with the death rate of 0.1%. 0.1%. Now, last year we had a severe seasonal influenza. 80,000 people died. This year, only 50,780 people have died from coronavirus, and we cannot sincerely attribute those deaths to coronavirus since there were underlying causes of the death. There were more serious issues and complications that these people had than coronavirus. So, 1 million people hospitalized last year. Seasonal influenza hospitalized 1 million people last year. We have 886,000 total confirmed cases, and as stated, those cases we cannot specifically identify as COVID-19. And many of the people, as I stated, are asymptomatic, meaning they have no symptoms, they're not ill, they're not going to become ill, and it cannot even be stated that they were ill. It's basically a cold, a flu, but we've shut down the nation. So there's another agenda here. There's something else here at work. What else? They're crashing the economy to create the largest transfer of wealth ever. They're crashing the economy to put the chains of debt slavery upon everyone in the country, everyone in the world. They want to bring in their new world order. Now, they can have a government over most of the earth. There's going to be a lot of nations that don't go along. Russia, China, they're never going to join with America. But there's going to be possibly a European North American Union of sorts. Brazil's never going to join in with America. They're part of the BRIC nations. So there is an agenda. We are going to have mandatory testing still. We haven't seen anything yet. This is just the tip of the iceberg. We have food shortages that are going to be taking place. Tyson has shut down all of their meat manufacturing or packaging plants. You have Smithfield shutting down. You have meat packing plants shutting down all over the nation. They say there's going to be a severe shortage of pork within 2 weeks. I don't eat pork. Yes, it will affect me though, because that's going to cause stress on other meat items, such as lamb, such as beef, such as bison. So it's going to cause stress in those markets, which is going to raise the price there because there's going to be more of a demand for those items since there's a shortage of pork. Now, as stated, I don't eat pork. I follow the instructions in Scripture. I figure, hey, the Creator, since He did design the body, well, maybe we should follow his guidelines. His guidelines are much better than CDC guidelines. So, if he says pork is bad, I say nada to pork. Anyway, I'm not condemning anyone who eats pork. You want to eat pork? That's your decision. That's the great thing about freedom. The freedom that even the Creator gives. So, we have fear porn numbers, and we have a interesting study that came forth out of USC. Preliminary results of USC LA County COVID-19 study have been released. Now, based on testing results from 863 adults, the research team estimates that approximately 4.1% of the county's adult population has antibody to the virus. Adjusting this estimate for statistical margin of error implies about 2.8% to 5.6% of the county's adult population has antibody to the virus, which translates to approximately 221,000 to 442,000 adults in the county who have had the infection. But their bodies, their immune system, fearfully and wonderfully made, they have destroyed, the immune systems have destroyed the virus present in the body. That estimate is 28 to 55 times higher than the 7,994 confirmed cases of COVID-19 reported to the county by the time of the study in early April. The number of COVID-related deaths in the county has now surpassed 600. So if you do the math, say on the low side, you have a death rate of 0.12%. On the high side, you have a death rate of 0.27%. Do the math, 600 deaths divided by 221,000, then 600 deaths divided by 442,000. So it says we haven't known the true extent of COVID-19 infections in our community because we have only tested people with symptoms and the availability of tests has been limited. Yet they say there's 800,000 plus people who have been confirmed to have the virus. Fuzzy math by the government. So here is a key paragraph from the CDC's latest brain-twisting definition of a COVID case. This is coming from John Rappaport. As you'll see, it allows the counting of cases where no confirmatory diagnostic test has been done on the patient at all. Have to inflate those numbers, right? How else can an agency justify its existence? And that's so true. That's the CDC is a pharmaceutical company which holds the patents on over 50 pharmaceuticals. They make money, people. Government agencies don't make money. The CDC is a private corporation. They make money through the patents on these pharmaceutical products that are killing people. So anyway, as of April 14th, 2020, CDC case counts and death counts include both confirmed and probable cases and deaths. A confirmed case or death is defined by meeting confirmatory laboratory evidence for COVID-19. A probable case or death is defined by 1. Meeting clinical criteria and epidemiological evidence with no confirmatory laboratory testing performed for COVID-19, or 2, meeting presumptive laboratory evidence and either clinical criteria or, okay, now this time they have it spelled right, epidemiological evidence, or 3, meeting vital records criteria with no confirmatory laboratory testing performed for COVID-19. So if you spend too long trying to decipher the meaning of every phrase and term in that definition, so you might find yourself up in a psych ward somewhere. So anyway, what they're doing is they're inflating the numbers. That's all that paragraph means. They're inflating the numbers. You have confirmed cases and you have diagnosed cases to where they assume that the person has COVID-19. They cannot confirm that they have COVID-19, but they assume they have COVID-19 because they have, I think, swollen blue toes is now one of the uh, symptoms, um, or a cough, a little bit of congestion. So there's a lot of things being attributed to COVID-19 that just, are not COVID-19. You have people dying of heart conditions. There's something else that I do want to read here. You have people dying of heart conditions. You have people dying of diabetes. You have people dying of all these types of sicknesses. Yet if they had COVID-19, their death is contributed to COVID-19. And that's a lie. And we've shut down everything. And I'm telling you, we have just seen the tip of the iceberg. There is more coming. When you go into a hyperinflationary depression, I mean, the people in the last century, they had a deflationary depression. Big difference in a deflationary depression, hyperinflationary depression. Hyperinflationary depression, you're going to see prices increase by 250, 500%. Possibly 1,000%. We could go Zimbabwe. The problem is the median wage that people are making is not going to increase. So they're lying about the numbers. They say if you die of a clear alternate cause, it's still listed as a death due to COVID-19, meaning if a person had a pre-existing condition such as heart disease, cancer, leukemia, or if they were in hospice and had been given a few weeks to live but had tested positive for COVID-19, but we know they can't test positive for COVID-19, only coronavirus, they'll still be listed as a COVID death. So I'll read that again without my little caveat there. They say if you die of a clear alternate cause, it is still listed as death due to COVID-19, meaning if a person had a pre-existing condition such as heart disease, cancer, leukemia, or even in hospice and only have been given a few weeks to live but had tested positive for COVID-19, will be listed as a COVID death. And this comes from Dr. Ngozi Ezekiel, everyone who is listed as COVID death doesn't mean that was the cause of the death, but they had COVID at the time of death. So those 50,000, that 50,000 number, we have no idea if it's 50,000 people who have died from COVID. Well, we know that that's false. We have no idea if it's 2, 3, 15. We're finding out now with the data which is coming out of Italy that very few people of the 10,000 they said passed away from COVID-19, very few of those people actually died from COVID-19. They all had pre-existing conditions, most of them heart disease, which they died from. Now, get this. The average age of the person in Italy which passed away from COVID-19 was 79.4 years of age. They were kind of pushing it anyway. You know, death is a part of life. We're all going to die. And if you've lived to be 79 years of age, you've probably had a pretty good life. You've had a long life. So anyway, we have a lot of lies. We have lies, damned lies, and statistics. So once again, flu deaths, 80,000 last year. 1 million people hospitalized. COVID deaths this year, 50,000. We may reach 60,000. However, that's a false number. As we've just read, person could die of heart disease, could die of cancer, could die of leukemia, could die of a pharmaceutical product, a bad reaction from a pharmaceutical product, which happens all the time. And it's going to be listed as a COVID-19 death. So we don't know. Maybe 100 people die of COVID, and we've shut down the nation. There is going to be hyperinflation, and like stated, we're going to have, you know, prices going up 250, 500,000%. You're going to go to the store, and if you buy a loaf of Dave's Killer Bread, which right now costs about $5.50 a loaf, you can look to be paying over $30 a loaf for that. Wages don't increase, but the cost of goods and services do. And those businesses that made it through this first phase of the plan and are able to reopen after the lockdowns are lifted, those businesses are going to have a hard time making it in a hyperinflationary type of atmosphere. They're not going to be able to make it because the cost of their overhead, the cost of doing business is going to increase, and they're going to have less customers, and they're going to wind up going out of business. So then you're going to have Walmart, Costco, Walmart, Kroger, Walmart, possibly Target, and then of course Dollar Tree. So the hopefully for you women out there, Hobby Lobby will make it through. So it's going to get a lot worse. I was not wanting to paint a picture of hopelessness, but I see where this is going with hyperinflation. We're looking at some very, very tough days ahead, courtesy of the United States government and the central banking cartel known as the Federal Reserve. It's a new America. I don't think things are ever going to be the same. See, in a deflationary depression, you could have had opportunity to make money. But in a hyperinflationary depression, that opportunity disappears. And they're probably going to have mandatory testing, mandatory vaccines of some type. I covered in the one program concerning the Life Key bracelets. So they are thinking ahead to people who have tested positive. They're going to milk this coronavirus for all they can milk it for. That's how it is. Their freedom is under attack. Your freedom, your personal freedoms are under attack, and I'm all about freedom. Freedom is what creates prosperity. Government kills people. Government creates poverty. And that's what we've had ever since the inception of this government. From day one, it has continued to grow into the behemoth we have now, which sucks the life out of every individual on this continent. So, anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. Um, just wanted, you know, to get that out there. I don't think this is over. I also believe that, they're setting up Hillary to run against Trump. I could be wrong. And right now, it wouldn't surprise me if they kept Trump in office because he's doing such a good job of leading the opposition. Those who would normally be opposed to what's going on now sit in silence because it's their guy, the one they voted for, their chosen one. And, people spare me the comments concerning, well, would you rather have Hillary? You know, it doesn't matter. I'm going to quote Hillary. What does it matter? Something like that. What does it matter? They're all central banking puppets. My advice to each and every one, lead in brass, seeds, and do whatever you can. Ever you can. Please do whatever you can, people, to get out of debt. So this is William Moore. I love everybody out there. And hey, if you're one of those Trump people that got offended by my meme today, you ain't seen nothing yet. So anyway, everybody, I love you. Until next time, this is Beyond the Ties That Bind. Peace.